This restaurant is going to be so expensive. Everything in this little neighborhood looks expensive. Oh my God, it's on a roof. It's on a roof. It's a restaurant on a roof. My wallet is about to cry.
St. Augustine said, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page." Don't get me wrong, I love Atlanta, but the world is a mighty big place.
Good morning, veggie enthusiasts. Today I'm going to get down to the nitty-gritty, talk about the history of the city, and there's quite a lot of history to this city. I would divide the city's history into maybe 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 sections. You have the ancient era, which would be the Greek and the Roman times, the medieval or Dark Age era, which would be the time of the Byzantines, and then you have the Ottoman era, which moves into also kind of medieval and then further into modern, and then you have this era, which is the Republic. The city changes names as well, and the names change to a certain extent with the eras. So, for example, let's go back to the beginning. According to a legend, whether this is true or not, we may never be sure, but there was a man in Athens, Greece, during the time of the city-states. His name was Byzas. And Byzas decided that maybe Athens was too crowded, and he was gonna pick up shop and move out. And he took people with him. And he brought them here. And then the city became Byzantium, named after Byzas. That was sometime in the 7th century BCE. Then we get into the Roman era, because it remained Greek for a very long time until it was conquered by the Romans. And that was sometime in the 1st century BCE. So it becomes a Roman province, but it's still known as Byzantium. And then in the 4th century of the Common Era, there is a Roman emperor whose name is Constantine. And Constantine is the first Christian Roman emperor. That's an awesome story if you want to look that up. The Roman Empire at that point is not Christian, but he's the first Christian emperor, and of course the Roman Empire will be going Christian soon. But he decides that he wants to start like the empire kind of anew, and that Rome, which is the capital of the Roman Empire, is no longer really a sufficient capital. Like, you really need to, if you're going to start anew, have a new capital. So he's going to transfer the capital of the Roman Empire from the city of Rome to Byzantium. Now, when he does that, some people come with him, but not everyone does. And you're going to end up sometime later having really 2 capitals of the Roman Empire, in essence 2 Roman empires. You have the Roman Empire in the west with its capital at Rome, and the Roman Empire in the east with its capital here at Byzantium. Now, Byzantium will come to be known as the city of Constantinople, and throughout pretty much the rest of the Roman era and going into the Dark and Middle Ages, it's known as the city of Constantinople, literally named after Constantine because it's Constantine's city.
This is called the Column of Constantine. It's also known as Cimberlitas. It was erected in 330 by Constantine himself to celebrate his designation of this city as the new capital of the Roman Empire. Now, the word Cimberlitas literally means stone with hoops. It once held a life-size statue of Constantine. At the top, he was depicted as the god Apollo. Now, Constantine never referred to this city as Constantinople. His goal was to create a new Rome, so he literally called this city Nova Roma, which means New Rome. But again, that name did not stick. After his death, it would become known as the city of Constantine, aka Constantinople. The Hippodrome dates back to the 4th century of the Common Era. It was known for chariot races during the Greco-Roman era and political events during the Byzantine era. It would have looked something like this. Today, it's a flat promenade for social events. Within what would have been the Hippodrome sphere are the Column of the Serpent, the Egyptian obelisk, and the walled obelisk. Now, the Column of the Serpent was built in the 5th century BCE to commemorate the Greek defeat of the Persians at the Battle of Plataea during the Second Persian War. If you saw the film 300, the last battle at the end that the Greeks are running into would have been the Battle of Plataea. Originally, it had 3 serpent heads at the top. It was located at the Temple of Delphi in Greece until Constantine brought it here around the same time that he consecrated the city. The Egyptian obelisk dates all the way back to 1500 BCE. It was constructed in Egypt during the reign of Thutmose III. For centuries, it was located at the Temple of Amun-Re at Karnak. It was brought here in the 4th century CE by Theodosius. There are 2 things that you should know about Theodosius. 1, Theodosius made the Roman Empire Christian. Anybody that was living within the Roman Empire had to be a Christian at that point. It was illegal to be pagan. And 2, Theodosius was the last emperor to rule both the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire. After his death, it officially split. And from that point on, there would be 2 Roman empires, one in the west and one in the east. The one in the east would later become known as the Byzantine Empire, and the Byzantine Empire is the first Christian-founded empire. Little is known about the walled obelisk, including when it was constructed. Unlike the Egyptian obelisk, however, it was created here in Istanbul. That's literally about all we know. Now, later Byzantine emperors would repair it and carve their own history into it.
So with regard to Emperor Valens, Valens, he had a problem, and he was a child when this happened, when he became emperor. But anyway, he had a problem in that Constantine had brought all of these people to the city. So you've got this new capital of Rome here in Constantinople. And you have a city that's like surrounded on 3 sides by water, but the people in the city are thirsty. They're like literally dying of thirst. So he commissions the building of the Valens Aqueduct, which is actually right in front of me. Now again, he gets credit for this, but he was actually a kid when it happened. I never cease to be amazed by Roman ingenuity, because this aqueduct is in amazing shape and it could probably still be used today if they just cleaned it up a little bit. Anyway, an aqueduct is designed to bring water in from outside the city to the city. So this aqueduct would have begun in the hills way outside of Constantinople, and then it would have been built all the way into the city because it keeps going like way beyond here. And it's built out of limestone so that the water is filtered naturally as it comes through and into the city. And then it would be stored in an underground cistern until it was needed. A cistern is, you know what, I'll just show you. That's easier, I'll just show you.
I am now entering the Basilica Cistern, also known as the Submerged Palace. You do have to go down quite far to reach it, but it's totally worth it. By the way, the entrance fee here is not included in the tourist pass. This cistern was built by Byzantine Emperor Justinian in 532 of the Common Era. At this point in history, the Roman Empire in the West has fallen, and the Byzantine Empire stands alone as the successor to the Roman Empire. It is the wealthiest of all the states in Europe, which have plunged into the Dark Ages. Therefore, at the time, it was something of a beacon of light amidst the backdrop of the Dark Ages. Back to the cistern. These were built to hold massive amounts of water in storage from aqueducts until the water was needed. This is the largest surviving cistern in Istanbul. It's held up by 336 columns recycled from pagan temples, which might be the source of the famous upside-down and sideways Medusa heads. My postulation as to why the Medusa heads are upside down and sideways instead of straight up is that the Christians who built this place wanted to make sure that the pagans and pagan gods knew their place.
I have been all over the city today. Attempting to do this in chronological order is not easy. I just left the Basilica Cistern and I'm on my way to meet somebody to have a meal. I met Lori, funny, her name is Lori, at the Whirling Dervish show, and she just doesn't meet strangers. So she just texted me and asked me if I wanted to get some food, and sure, why not? Always up for food. So the place that we're going, I'm pretty sure it's going to be expensive. She's a doctor. She's in an entirely different tax bracket than I am. But hey, when you're on vacation, vacay.
I met up with Lori for lunch at the Seven Hills Restaurant and Cafe, which is apparently a 5-star joint that overlooks much of the city as well as the Bosphorus. There were several things on the menu that were vegan, particularly in the appetizer section, and I ended up having the hot and spicy tomato dip, which I love how they said hot and spicy because it was neither hot nor spicy, but it was good. The stuffed vine leaves, which were by far my favorite, as well as the hummus, which they described as mashed chickpeas with sesame, and they could have just said hummus. I guess when you go to an expensive place, they need to make it sound better. At any rate, it was an excellent lunch. I very much enjoy Lori's company. She is a lovely, lovely person.
I just left the restaurant and the food was really good, but I was right, it was expensive. Anytime you get to overlook the Bosphorus, that's going to be expensive. Anytime you get to eat on a rooftop, that's going to be expensive. I should have been a doctor, like a real doctor, not an educational doctor, like a medical doctor. That's what I should have done. Then I could afford to eat like that all the time. And I guess maybe it wasn't that expensive. I've kind of been spoiled by Istanbul because the majority of my meals here have been the equivalent of like $1 American to $3 American. And that meal was the equivalent of 20 American dollars, which is something that I would spend in the US not thinking about it, but I guess my perspective has kind of changed. But anyway, I am now headed back to the hotel. I'm tired, my feet hurt. I've done a lot of trekking today, got some good exercise, got some good history in. All in all, it's been a good day. There's still one ring to rule them all, so it's really, really been a good day on that account. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to leave your comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to stalk me on Instagram at ATLVegOut.